has very kindly agreed to come back to Web 2. Last year, 2 or 3 years ago, we had Steve here, and we had a wonderful conversation. Bing was just a little kid at that point, and it's grown up quite a bit. And I'm very, very much looking forward to both your questions and our conversation. So please join me in welcoming Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer. I'll give you this water because I didn't touch it, I swear.
Thanks.
We have a water fail here. So Steve, when last we spoke on this stage, I asked you a question about Bing, or about Microsoft Search, and you grew quite animated. And I think you used this metaphor of someday, you called sort of Bing your child. You said someday that child will dunk. It's young, the players are bigger that it's playing against, but someday it's going to dunk. How's the dunking going?
We're getting stronger every day. I think when I was here last, I want to say it was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was right after we had launched Bing.
Right.
It came out, I think, May, and I was probably here this time of year. We've gone essentially from 7% share to almost 15% share. Pretty good progress. Still small share, but a nice rise. We kind of doubled our position, which is fantastic in the United States. We went from the number 3 player to the number 2 player through a combination of the alliance with Yahoo most significantly, as well as our own share gains. And together with Yahoo, we're between 25 and 30% market share, which is important in a lot of ways, not just for share, but also for having enough data to continue to improve the product. We've struck partnerships, obviously, with Yahoo, but also with Facebook and with Twitter, which we're excited about. And I would say today, I'd issue you all kind of a challenge to go and take any search you want and try it out on Bing and try it out on Google. Certainly in our own internal test, 70% of the time you probably won't care. 15% of the time you'll probably like us better. And 15% of the time you'll like the other guy better. And that's before you get to user interface, innovation, and things we've done to make search more than just 10 blue links. And competitions responded to that. But the core at the time would have been, can we get our muscle up in relevance? And I think we've done a great job, and sort of it sets the foundation for kind of now reinventing the category.
Is the category as important as it was 3 years ago, given that people are doing discovery in new ways through social, for example? I'm not saying that search is no longer important, but is it as big a push for you and for Microsoft as it was 3 years ago?
The core notion in Bing is about understanding the world in a variety of different ways, geographically, time-wise, people, as well as all of the things that have been written and taped and put up on the web, and about understanding users and their interests, respecting their privacy, and then bringing those together. The notion of understanding the world and understanding the user and helping the user take advantage of and participate in the world, that is of, if anything, greater importance today. Theme of the conference, use of data. What better use of all the world's data is there than trying to put it together as an engine through the search application and potentially other applications to serve the user? Now, there are also other ways people find things and run into the things that are important to them, or hear what their friends have to say, and that stuff is also very important, but neither is really a substitute for the other.
Now, Microsoft was, I think you acknowledged 3 years ago, late to the search game, at least with a product that you felt was powerful and equivalent to the competition. Have you decided that you do not want to be in the social game? Google was late to that game, or rather had a number of entrants that didn't quite scale. They now have Google+, which they're very proud of, and it looks like, at least initially, it's starting to scale. Of the 4 kind of core players, maybe 5 who are in the space and seem in the space and capitalized, ready to go at it to be the operating system of your life, so to speak. Google, Microsoft, Apple, you guys, Amazon perhaps, Facebook. Have you decided to punt on social, or are you going to surprise us at some point?
Well, look, there's a lot. The word social is about as broad as all get out. Certainly, Facebook sort of defines social. When people use the words, they've done a great job. We work with them closely because we think there's value in combining the things we're building in Bing with what they're doing. But there's a whole lot of aspects of helping people connect and communicate with the people they really love. Xbox Live. We have 50 million people using Xbox Live, touching, connecting, communicating. It's different context.
Yeah.
Seems highly social to me when my kids are sitting there yelling at friends around the world, running around doing various things online. Different, but valuable. We concluded the acquisition of Skype. Skype actually is more about helping you connect with the people who you are very closest to,
right,
as opposed to people who you want to generally socialize with.
Yep.
So I think there's a variety of different things that all fall under this kind of social banner, and we've picked our play.
Right.
We're adding what I would call connectivity to people into our core products, Bing, Office, et cetera, sometimes in partnership and sometimes on our own. And the acquisition of Skype, I think, is a big step down a path that's all about connecting you with other people.
Now, when you mention Xbox Live and its large, audience, and you mentioned and Bing with its large reach now, I mean, that 25% is a significant share, and Office 365 will get to the cloud, I promise, and all the other touch points that Microsoft has. Connecting all those together with a social layer might be something that makes sense. No?
Yes, lots of things. You want people to be able to connect with each other. You want them to be able to have an identity. You want them to be able to use their identity in multiple different ways and in multiple different places. You want them to be able to connect their identity with their identity in other systems. It's one of the things we think we've done really well with our Windows Live system is the ability to connect up your persona with your Facebook persona and LinkedIn, a variety of others, because I don't think there's going to be one answer to all issues when it comes to connecting with other people. And you'll see us continue to push that, particularly with the acquisition of Skype, which is such an alive and developing kind of future of communications, if you will, asset.
I was going to ask you about the acquisition of Skype, but you've answered the question. Are you in any way concerned, or do you believe that Google Plus with its Hangouts feature is a significant threat to that acquisition?
Well, one of the things I'm sure noticed is that the Skype guys and the Facebook guys, before we ever owned Skype, had done a partnership. There's certainly various ways in which people want to socialize. I want to talk to you, I want to Skype you, but a group of us may want to just sort of be around and be together. And we have a variety of different ways to support that. I mean, look, not being thoughtful about competition is crazy. On the other hand, we don't have to take on every battle here. We have to take on kind of the battles and the opportunities where we see unique opportunity to innovate.
Now, I know that you're reporting earnings soon, so I'm not allowed to ask you forward-looking questions.
This week, so
right.
I'll be very quiet about
right.
that.
So I'm not going to ask you about buying Yahoo. What I'm going to do...
You could ask me that question any week and get the same answer.
No. Don't answer until I ask you this question. Are you glad you didn't buy Yahoo for $44 billion?
Times change. Times change. Look, you ask any CEO who might have bought something before the market crashed in 2008, you say, would you be glad that you didn't buy something? Hallelujah. Put everything else aside. The market really kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it did.
And, if you think about the timing, if you had to accept our bid, they would have accepted it. We would have locked the price or whatever. and we would have closed about, post Lehman Brothers. So, yeah, sometimes you're lucky in this life. Now, with that said, look, there's a lot of great things at Yahoo. And that's why the alliance was very important. A lot of what we had hoped to accomplish, we get accomplished through the alliance. I love the partnership. We know they're going through their issues. On the other hand, they have one of the very biggest, most vibrant audiences on the internet, and I'm very proud to call them a partner.
Let's talk about the cloud. It's been, if the cloud are coming out of Microsoft lately.
All in, baby.
Yeah. Which, from a packaged goods software company that made its money off of shrink wrap for God knows how long, is, something of a shift. How is it going?
I would say going quite well. Not everything is a little earlier days than the rhetoric. But if you look at it, when it comes to enterprises moving to the cloud, the first thing people tend to look at is productivity and communications. We are winning. Doesn't mean the other guys don't win a couple, but man, we're successful.
Who are you beating?
Google. 98% of the time, there's occasionally another competitor, but Google tends to be.
You're talking about the apps in the cloud now.
Apps now. I'll get to platform in a minute. But apps in the cloud. Apps is the leading edge. Customers are far more mature in accepting apps into the cloud than they are yet platform in the cloud. And certainly, if you look at our ramp rate of sold seats, et cetera, which I don't want to comment on specifically, but it's got a very nice trajectory. Our win rate is super high. We've got a highly functional product that's highly available with very good sort of overall characteristics particularly for a business or professional customer. Platform
Define platform.
Infrastructure on which you either host bespoke or other people's applications, where you're trying to use it. If somebody says, look, I want to take my line of business application for order entry, and I want to move it to the cloud, the market is much less developed. There's so much less action that has happened, so everything's more nascent. More of that's happening with startups than with other enterprises. Amazon got a nice jump on some of that, and yet we have to think about that platform, because I think that will exist in the private cloud, so to speak, and the public cloud for a lot of years. I think it's going to be a lot of years. Unlike in the applications area, I think it's going to be a lot of years before people move all their LOB applications. And the strength of our virtualization and private cloud offer and public cloud offer makes us unique against Amazon or VMware, some of the guys we would compete with in that area.
Right. There are so many things to cover, so forgive me for jumping around a little bit, but I want to talk about Xbox. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
And in particular, I want to talk about Kinect. So if you look over your past year or two and say, what was a big hit, it strikes me that Kinect would be at the top of the list.
Absolutely.
But I want to describe our own family's interaction with it, which is we got it, we got very excited, played with it for about a day and a half, and then we got tired of river rafting and stopped using it. It doesn't seem like there's as much to do with it as given how extraordinary the platform is as a platform. When will Kinect become a platform that everybody here can build cool stuff on?
Yeah, I would say I'd characterize that in a few ways. Number one, like any other thing that is new, we came out with a set of applications to show off the platform. To bring others and to get our second generation is now happening. We announced a partnership, I think, today with Sesame Street, with National Geographic to bring kind of kids learning and entertainment to the Kinect. You'll see a raft of new games from us and third-party publishers this holiday. We've announced and demonstrated work that we're doing with people who provide video content, live TV as well as other kind of VOD and et cetera content to really let you access and find it and control it completely via the Connect, gesture as well as voice, both being an important part of that. Bing powered, by the way. That'll be out for this holiday season. We made a set of announcements about that. So you're going to see, I would say, a range of important innovations coming to Connect on Xbox this holiday. Earlier this year, we also brought out the toolkit for Connect on Windows.
Right.
And there was a lot of innovation going on there before we ever brought out a toolkit, in fact. And now we start to see the number of
Connect was getting hacked, and you decided to embrace that.
We would have embraced it anyway, but we had to do that maybe a little bit earlier officially than we would have planned. But that kind of opens up a whole new sphere of innovation with Connect and the PC. So this holiday, I think you'll see an explosion of things around the Xbox and Connect, and additional innovation coming to the Windows world.
So you mentioned Windows 8, and I wanted to get to that. It seems built ground up for a different device foundation than everything before it. Is that a fair statement?
It's a no-compromise approach. It supports a next generation of things that people will want to do that don't involve fine-grained control through mice and keyboards, and yet it doesn't abandon any of the great things that have come before. And we think people are going to want a no-compromise experience for productivity and consumption, for new applications and old, for big applications and small. And Windows 8 is all about doing that in a no-compromise way.
So let's talk about a couple of the new devices that Windows 8 seems particularly well suited for. Smartphones, tablets.
Yep.
There's a lot of discussion. As a matter of fact, I couldn't wade through all of the blog posts and news articles about mostly speculating on what Microsoft's going to do. Is Microsoft going to, again, go deep into the hardware business? Obviously with Xbox, you're in the hardware business. You've had Windows phones. They haven't taken off like gangbusters. But is this another Johnny's Gonna Dunk Soon story about Windows Phone 8?
We are working very well and very hard with hardware manufacturers to make sure that there's a great range of Windows devices. Things that look like phones, tablets, desktops, notebooks, convertibles, things that run on Intel, things that run on ARM. We are propelling that. That is very important. Just a small reminder, 350 million Windows devices will get sold this year. Not 350 million Windows licenses. We got a little bit of piracy in a few parts of the world. But 350 million PCs will get sold this year. And now extending that and supporting new modalities of interaction, whether it's touch or connect or natural user interface or the pocket, but that is it's essential to what we're doing. And we're moving hard down that front, working very collaboratively, whether it's with Nokia, who will have a chance at their Nokia World Show next week to show a bunch of new devices running Windows Phone. Should be pretty good.
Are you going to build your own?
Are we going to build our own? Our business has been sort of focused in on enabling hardware innovation. We're focused on enabling hardware innovation broadly through our industry.
Sometimes building your own enables hardware innovation. Might that happen?
We have been very, very successful enabling hardware innovation, and we will continue to do so. But thank you for your suggestion.
I'd ask.
It was good. I was okay with it.
I would like you to sell me on why I should buy something from Microsoft and not Apple.
Anything from Microsoft?
Well, a Windows Phone 8 instead of an iPhone.
Okay. Look, if you grab, and let's talk about the generation that comes this holiday. You're going to have two phones sitting there. They're both going to feel very good in your hand. They're going to both look very beautiful physically, which people care a lot about. And that'll be an important part of what we get done this holiday, is to have first-rate looking, physically first-rate looking phones, because people make a statement. But when you actually go to grab the phone and use it, the notion of putting your information front and center, your friends, what's going on with them, that's front and center. It's not seas of icons and blah, blah, blah. Add a button, click, Bing's there to help you get things done. I mean, there's certainly some nice things Apple's done with Siri, but some of the same things we've been doing for a year, and we're on our next generation, where you really want to just go to your phone, punch a button, and say, check my flight, do this, do that, do the other thing. And so the combination of the focus on your friends and your information and letting you, through the integration of Windows Phone and Bing, boom, get things done. I think that's a very powerful combination for a lot of people now that we get over this hurdle of first generation hardware, blah, 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 blah.
Right. I would like to ask folks to come up to ask Steve a question. I know it's getting late and you guys are tired. It's been a long day, but he's providing energy for everybody here. So, we have a Steve battery plugged into Web 2 here. As we wait for questions to come up, I want to ask you the same question about Android phones.
No, you don't need to be a computer scientist to use a Windows phone. And I think you do to use an Android phone. Pretty inconsistent, don't look alike, don't work. I mean, you can say every good thing I said versus Apple, but you can add a list that's longer than my arm. The cheapest phones on the market this holiday will still probably be the Android phones, the very rock bottom cheapest, and that's part of, kind of the work we're going to need to do is to support lower and lower price designs. But other than that, it is very hard to be excited for me about the Android phones. Apple's a good competitor, different kind of competitor.
Got it. To the questions over here.
So I'm trying to think about what the life is like for a consumer that walks into a store, let's say in 2013 when Win 8 is around, and he looks at an ARM-based Win 8 tablet, an x86 Win 8 tablet, and an iPad, and he tries to make the decision, which one am I going to buy? I think you guys have done a great job convincing me as a developer that an x86 Win 8 device, because it brings the backwards compatibility of the PC, is a very interesting proposition, right? I have the best of the PC. I have all the new touch capabilities. What about ARM? When I'm looking at that, I don't have that backwards compatibility advantage. So what will make me pick that up over an iPad?
You the developer or you that consumer?
I think let's start with the consumer, because as a dev, that's what I care about. Why am I going to sell that unit?
Well, remember, if you've written the application, you the dev have written an application for the Metro-style app for Windows 8, it's going to run on ARM or Intel. Just going to run on ARM or Intel. And there will be 350 million of those things sold, roughly speaking, per year, which is a big opportunity for you through our store. And I think there's actually real leverage. You say, hey, look, I wrote my app. So in a sense, you could say the base of applications for Windows 8 ARM builds from the fact that people want to support Windows 8 Intel. And that's, I think, a very important part of the proposition. From the consumer standpoint, now all of a sudden you get a big base of applications. You still can have access to the most popular x86 application, which is Microsoft Office, which is very important. And you'll see some of the things that we do to weave things around that I think will be quite potent. You'll get a variety of different sizes and form factors. It turns out that one screen size is probably not for everybody. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, there for innovation and differentiation from our partners.
Over here. Oh, did you disagree? Over here. One more. One more is fine. I'm getting cut off by my own producer.
Well, I can say it. Will the future of Windows 8 as a user interface, is that what we can expect to see on the desktop? So that as an employee of the company, I can see who my colleagues are. I can share with them Microsoft Office applications and have that as a collaboration tool where what's starting to see on Windows 8, is that what we can expect to see on the desktop?
There's something just quick follow back because I'm not sure what you're trying to ask. There's something, Windows 8 essentially mixes together the best of a new UI environment and the desktop. I mean, literally, you download the developer preview, you can get the desktop you know and love, you can get new applications, you get centricity both ways, but it's one operating system. It's not two different worlds. It's one world where you can share information, collaboration system, et cetera. So unless I'm missing something, I would say that's uniform.
No, I'm saying for the desktop, if we think about like what Salesforce is doing with Chatter, that type of collaboration tool, you're starting to see that well on the mobile device. And we see that there is no mic, sorry. They took the mic. Are you starting to see that, for the desktop in terms of that type of employee collaboration?
Well, if you look at it today, the most popular tools for people collaborating in a business are actually our SharePoint product, which is a multi-billion-dollar product for us today, our Link Communications product, which has been kind of a Skype for the enterprise, and we're looking forward to stitching that together with Skype in the broad world. And those two things have been very, very powerful. Will we continue to extend their capabilities? Will people build more applications? The number of applications that enterprise developers have built around SharePoint is quite dramatic at this stage, and we continue to extend what you can do there as we move SharePoint to the cloud.
I wish we could keep going, but unfortunately I have this huge sign saying, Steve must leave now. So apparently you must leave now, but thank you very much for coming.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Wow. All right.